I worked close to a decade in semiconductor industry, from world's most advanced chip maker to leading AI chip company. Now here is the question nobody's answering correctly. Not in Beijing, not on Wall Street. What happens to global semiconductor supply chain? Not if China invades Taiwan, but if China takes it without breaking anything. Today, we are going to discuss the biggest problem of modern AI world is the AI supply chain problem. And Taiwan is where it breaks. If your model of Taiwan risk assumes disruption starts with the war, your model is already broken. And if you are wrong about this, the AI economy you are betting on does not exist in the form you think it does. Now here is the question nobody's answering correctly. Not in Beijing, not on Wall Street. What happens to global semiconductor supply chain? Not if China invades Taiwan, but if China takes it without breaking anything. I worked close to a decade in semiconductor industry, from world's most advanced chip maker to leading AI chip company, working at the center of AI supply chain. So here's what I think. The worst case scenario for global semiconductor supply chain is not war, it's peaceful transfer while the system is still running. Three scenarios, three completely different semiconductor consequences. Most coverage fixate on full invasion, most dramatic, and also the most rational for China to avoid. The scenario with no explosions destroys the supply chain most completely. The only scenario where TSMC keeps running is the one where world loses control of it. For Taiwan, Blockade is not just a military event, it is an engineering event, no weapons required. China asserts control of Taiwan's waters. Ships slow, chemical shipments get delayed, LNG tankers turn back. Taiwan imports essentially all of its energy inputs by ship. Semiconductor yield is held within an extremely precise window. Under stable conditions, TSMC runs about 90% yield. That is where the economics work. Delay a chemical reorder by 3 weeks, reduce gas purity slightly from rerouted suppliers, extend maintenance intervals because calibration parts are stuck in customs. Yield doesn't drop gradually. It literally falls off a cliff. At high volume manufacturing stage, below that threshold, a fab doesn't produce fewer chips. It produces none that matter. The light stays on. The machines keep running. The output becomes economically useless and nobody realizes it until it's already too late. You don't attack TSMC directly. You turn off what keeps it stable and let the physics do the rest. Taiwan imports most of its energy inputs by ship. Blockade targeting energy destabilizes the power grid. Leading edge fabs cannot tolerate the voltage fluctuations, disrupt calibration equipment supply chains, and the fab's measurement stack begins to drift. The process runs, but completely blind. This scenario has no explosions, no footage worth broadcasting, no clean trigger for global response. And this scenario, we have already watched happen to a different city on a different timeline. In 1997, Britain handed Hong Kong to China. One country, two systems. The proposal was the building stays standing, stock exchange keeps operating, legal system remains independent. Here is what people thought. Hong Kong stays the financial capital of Asia. The institutions are intact, the infrastructure is intact, and here is what actually happened. China did not destroy Hong Kong's financial system. It didn't need to. Over 25 years, through gradual erosion of judicial independence, quiet pressure on press freedom, selective enforcement of new security laws, the professionals, lawyers, fund managers whose presence was the actual source of Hong Kong's value made a decision. They left. The buildings are still there. The stock exchange is still open. The GDP numbers still registered. But the institutional ecosystem that made Hong Kong the place for international capital wanted to be, it is gone. And no amount of intact infrastructure brought it back. Control is not about owning asset. It is about controlling what the asset depends on. China doesn't need to destroy TSMC. It only needs to change the political status of the island. That single change triggers 3 engineering mechanisms, each one individually fatal to the AI supply chain. Every EUV machine inside TSMC runs on a Dutch government export license. The moment Taiwan's status changes, those licensed are revoked. ASML withdraws its engineers. Some people think machines stop when the license is revoked. What actually happens is the machines keep running, but they start producing an increasingly unpredictable result. An EUV tool is a control theory problem. The models compensating for drift runs on softwares ASML maintains constantly. Cut that service and the error keeps growing chaotically. Yield degrades, not on a predictable schedule, but chaotically. This chaotic degradation is more dangerous than a known failure. You cannot compensate what you cannot measure. No engineers, no service loop, no high yield. EUV isn't a machine, it's a dependency that never turns off. By 2026, the binding constraint of AI chips is not wafer fabrication, it's advanced packaging, CoWoS. Arizona makes the engine. Taiwan provides the transmission. Without the transmission, a 1000 horsepower engine sits on a crate. It goes nowhere. Without CoWoS, a Blackwell GPU cannot communicate with the rest of the system. No Arizona alternative for this at these volumes. Neither a Japan alternative. The packaging operation is even more geographically concentrated than front-end fabs. So if no high-end packaging, no high-end product, no AI, even if wafer exists. The bottleneck isn't making chips, it's making them usable. And there's a layer underneath this that even expert coverage misses. Every major AI chip that ships carries reliability model, built for years of testing data, thousands of chips, all from Taiwan's specific manufacturing environment. Without that data layer, a chip cannot be certified for deployment. No data center is going to install a GPU which it cannot warranty. Without this data layer, you don't ship products, you ship uncertainty. And nobody builds AI infrastructure on uncertainty. Full invasion, most covered, least rational near-term tool. China imports roughly 85 to 100 billion of Taiwanese semiconductors annually. An invasion is self-inflicted economic shock to China's own AI program. TSMC has contingency plans to disable its equipment. The institutional knowledge leaves with the engineering team. Beijing holds the buildings, not yield, not ASML service, not the data ecosystem. Invasion triggers the clearest global response and produces the least usable outcome for China. If this kind of engineering level thinking on AI chips, geopolitics, and markets is useful to you, please subscribe. Let's get back to the analysis. Now let me translate the engineering reality into financial terms, not as a stock picker, as an engineer who understands the actual manufacturing dependencies behind each of these names. This is not a tail risk, it is a single point of failure disguised as a global industry. So if your AI thesis doesn't include Taiwan disruption risk, it's not a thesis, it's leverage. NVIDIA, every Blackwell GPU, every AI accelerator, 100% of NVIDIA's leading edge production, TSMC, and every chip requires CoWoS packaging. Apple, every premium product, A series, M series. Apple is a company that accidentally became Taiwan dependency hedge fund. A disruption doesn't slow its product cycle, it ends. AMD, another GPU company, all co-optimized to TSMC specific process node. Here's what people think. If TSMC is disrupted, companies switch to Samsung or Intel. But here's what actually happens. There is no immediate switching. There needs to be redesigning from the scratch. A chip designed for TSMC's 3nm is co-optimized for their specific transistor characteristics and the design rules. Move that chip to Samsung, different transistor architecture, different failure modes, and you're not porting, you're redesigning from the scratch. Even with AI-assisted chip design tools, physics doesn't change. 12 to 14 months minimum. So diversification sounds good in a report, but it doesn't exist at 3nm on any time frame that matters. Now coming to ASML. This is the biggest company on earth, making the tools needed for advanced chip manufacturing. If Taiwan's ecosystem collapses, every fab built anywhere in the world runs through ASML's delivery schedule. Arizona, Ohio, Japan, Germany. ASML doesn't just survive the Taiwan shock, it inherits the reconstruction. Intel doesn't need to catch up TSMC, it just needs TSMC to disappear. Intel's foundries, Arizona, Oregon, Ohio, they represent the only remaining advanced manufacturing capacity in Western Hemisphere under the sustained disruption. So governments would not let that fail. Capitals and subsidies will flow in volumes that make chips act look like a down payment. I make these videos because I see there's a genuine gap between what happens inside the industry and what most coverage shows. If this video gave you any value, please like and subscribe.